And with this, the last characteristic of the Antichrist is fulfilled, that the Antichrist would be a church and state power that was, is not, and yet is. It was, or existed from 538 to 1798, having both civil and religious authority. And then it was not from 1798 to 1929. And after 1929, it yet is. And it is in the yet is stage of its existence after 1929 that it was foretold, it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. And in fulfillment of this prophecy and the 8 characteristics that we have looked at, the world today is indeed wondering or admiring and following after the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, the Antichrist.
Buonasera.
The Pontiff is not only the head of state, but is also head of the government of the Catholic Church, known as the Holy See. This institution has existed for the best part of 2 millennia.
He's captured the imagination not just of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics, but the world itself.
I get it on the streets. I mean, everybody from the bartender to the cab driver telling me, Cardinal Dolan, we love this guy.
His Twitter account, @Pontifex, ranks in the top 5 most searched words on the internet. He walks the streets, poses for pictures, embraces the sick, and is not afraid to have a bit of fun.
Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google. Donald Trump, President of the United States. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia. Leonardo DiCaprio, Hollywood movie star. Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund. Elizabeth II, Queen of England.
Pope Francis has just endorsed same-sex unions for the very first time.
And the leading gay magazine, The Advocate, have named him their Person of the Year.
Even amid the coronavirus pandemic, the head of the Antichrist power is weighing in on the matter, and what he is saying actually has a lot to do with the mark of the beast. On April 8th, the New York Post reported the Pope says coronavirus could be nature's response to climate change. He likened the outbreak of the virus to natural disasters such as fires and floods and concluded, saying, "I believe we have to slow down our rate of production and consumption and to learn to understand and contemplate the natural world." The climate has been at the top of the Pope's agenda for several years, and for good reason. And that reason is selling the world on the enforcement of the mark of the beast for the good of the planet. We all know from the plainest reading of the prophecies concerning the mark of the beast that its enforcement requires an ability to control to a large degree the entire population of Earth, in particular the economy as it pertains to buying and selling.
Seen extra COVID restrictions come into force today.
Call centres who try to track down people who test positive and their close contacts.
Coronavirus is changing our world and the way it works, ushering us into the age of global population control through surveillance, facial recognition technologies, checkpoints, and border checks to limit travel, and of course, more control over the economy.
The International Monetary Fund is reportedly lobbying to use individuals' online web histories to set your credit score.
Washington State recently okayed a new facial recognition law, and it's even being seen as a national model. It's said it won't be used for tracking innocent people, but who is innocent and who gets to decide?
And they'll say, well, we're targeting certain individuals, but the nature of the technology is so expansive that you cannot use this without countless innocent people having their data captured as well.
Clearly, the Vatican likes the idea of facial recognition technology being used. As Reuters reported, Vatican joins IBM, Microsoft to call for facial recognition regulation. In today's age, you are guilty until proven innocent.
State contact tracers are working around the clock to notify and isolate positive cases.
Nations try to track and trace their way out of the corona crisis. Privacy concerns remain, with the citizens' every move being monitored.
Well, not everyone is keen on installing a tracing app on their phone. But in countries such as India, there's little choice. People there must download a state-backed tracing app if they want to travel.
And as the technology is implemented and employed, no doubt laws will change and policies will change until your movements are tracked and reported, so that when you become guilty because you miss a car payment or won't get inoculated with the latest vaccine, you will be arrested soon after your face shows up in public. The president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, announced during the crisis that those who violate coronavirus lockdown will be shot dead.
Shoot them dead.
He told Reuters, "My orders to the police and military, if there is trouble and there's an occasion that they fight back and your lives are in danger, shoot them dead." In India and other places, authorities take to rods and instruments with which to beat offenders of lockdown orders and destroy their bikes or property when they're not supposed to be in public. Those exiting worship services were beaten by the police as they exited the building. Others are forced to do push-ups or demeaning and ridiculous acts or exercises, even being held in dog cages for violating curfew. Migrant workers have been gathered together and hosed down with disinfectant. Bill Gates, one of the staunchest proponents of vaccines, believes we need digital certificates to prove who has received the coronavirus vaccine. And if you don't get the vaccine, you don't work. He added, "This technology will only be used for safety and convenience," he says, and the technology is nothing more than an upgrade on traditional cattle branding.
And you won't qualify for the childcare payments. So this is essentially a no jab, no pay policy from this government.
No jab, no job, with some businesses considering making the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for employees.
Even the World Health Organization said family members may have to be removed from their homes.
In response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
A pregnant woman has been charged with incitement after police raided her Ballarat home.
You're under arrest in relation to incitement.
After allegedly encouraging friends to attend a lockdown protest.
Mr. Jones, come down the stairs, now!
And when one couple refused to sign an order that they would quarantine at home, officials forced the issue with ankle bracelets.
Anybody were to see this, they think we're criminals.
Is this the kind of world we want to live in? This is just a very small sampling of what is going to come in the future, and even what's going on right now. And as we see these extreme measures to control the global population being implemented, it ought to be a very clear warning to us all of what is to come, and the measures that will be employed to enforce the mark of the beast.